So we're back again, my friends. If I'm not mistaken, we live off in a part of the chapter of 20 in the Exodus. And we leave off, and the people are in the wilderness of Sinai. And what's going on is that it's pretty much going down. Moses has been told, instructed to tell the people to clean themselves and sanctify themselves, for all the people to abstain from copulation, right? Not only that, but anyone who gets close to the mountain is to die. Dart them through the heart, stone them with stones. It tells them to do that in particular. I have to assume that it's because they leave your hands. I don't know if there was archers around, but I'm just assuming that a dart is easier to throw at someone, right? I just understand. What do you think darts were used for? They're killing weapons. Anyway, I love y'all. I really do. You know, I just seem like I'm crazy because all these things seem normal to me. Only because I get carried away in my imagination. But we're in chapter 20, right? And in chapter 20, verse 1, it starts off like this. And the Lord spoke all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods beside me. Thou shalt not make to thyself an idol, nor likeness of anything, whatever things are in the heaven above, and whatever are in the earth beneath, and whatever are in the waters under the earth. Stop right there. It's not just talking about the sky. It means literally the heavens. So the angels, anything that comes from the heavens, the actual earth that we live on, and then the water that is under the earth. Come on. Verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord thy God, a jealous God, recompensing the sins of the fathers upon the children, to the third and fourth generation, to them that hate me. What? To them that hate me. He said that if you don't follow his rules, you hate him. It's that simple. You hate me. I love him. I love the Most High, man. Man, he's... You know where you stand. He doesn't leave it's not a mystery where you stand with him on any level. And that's why the wicked can't stand here in the scripture going forward. Verse 6, and bestowing mercy. No, let's go back to verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord thy God, a jealous God, recompensing the sins of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation. That's the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren. To them that hate me, and bestowing mercy on them that love me, to the thousands of them, and on them that keep my commandments. Did it say the millions? Did it say the hundreds of thousands? No, it said the thousands. So understand, if you really actually did the number of people who are actually really Afro-Negro people who were brought here by force in this country who look similar to the man that's speaking to you, I can guarantee you there's far less of those people than you believe there are in this country. Facts. Number 2 with saying that. Don't you think that it's the Most High God is pretty merciful just to tell people? And when I say the thousands, he's just letting us know that there's not that many. There's not that many, even of all the people. Understand what's going on. There's Egyptians with them. There's the people that were in Egypt that are with them. Okay, there's the people that they've mated with, of these people that are not only the Egyptians but all the other people that are there. So the mixed multitude. Understand that even though the children of Israel can be numbered on their own, the number of the other of people is not numbered. So it's not just one, it's literally like nations of people wandering in a place. And a particular group of them are being set aside so that way they can even be like, who they are is going to be made clear to everyone else on the planet. Because these people who are with you believe that you're special. Otherwise, they wouldn't be rolling with you. So they're going to follow the rules if you follow the rules. But if you don't, they're not. And the ones of them who believe more than you, obviously, are going to follow the rules. No matter what. Going forward. I just had to speak to that because it touched my heart. Verse 7. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. For the Lord thy God will not acquit him that takes his name in vain. Stop right there. Do y'all remember? Do you guys understand that nobody knew the actual name of the Most High until Moses? So the name of Jehovah, I would actually be pressed to say, was a universal term for creator. Don't get angry. Just understand where I'm coming from. Okay? If no one knew the name until Moses, that means that Jehovah is not the name of the Most High. It's as simple. That's simple. That's basic. Having said that, that means that the name that they actually cursed and spoke to, which is going to come later on, not they, but the stranger. And they do curse his name in their own ways, but it's differently. But I'm speaking to something. I'm speaking to the fact that the Most High God's name is something not what Abraham said it was to one Melchizedek. And that means that the name El Elyon is the name of a heathenist God. No, there's no other way around it. Right. See what I'm saying? It's that type of understanding going forward. Verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Understand this also keeps in with the Passover and all that stuff. If you keep the Sabbath, you have to keep the Passover. 6 days shalt thou labor, and shalt perform all thy work. But on the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. On it thou shalt do no work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy servant, nor thy maidservant, thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thine cattle of thine, nor the stranger that sojourns with thee. Stop right there. Another indication that they're not by themselves. There's people that the Most High God is considering strangers to them. Thank you. And they're sojourning with them. Thank you. And they're saying that nobody's working on this day, on the seventh day, which would be in memorial to creation. And if you understand that the Most High God saved the people on the same set of 7 days that he would have created the earth, or that's when the events are supposed to take into full effect. And the month of new corn in the first week. Right. That's why he wants you to do it in the first week, not in the weeks that followed on in the actual tangible effort, and once again the greatest logistical effort that we know of going forward. Verse 11. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven, and the earth, and the sea, and all things in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the seventh day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father. Stop right there. I can't stress it enough. It's not 7,000 years. It's 7 literal day cycles that this was all made. Which one is greater? 7,000 years or 7 days? Okay then. It's just the fact that people even try to even play that game is sick, and they should be ashamed of themselves on many different levels. Moving on. Verse 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that it may be well with thee, that thou mayest live long on the good land, which the Lord thy God gives thee. He's talking about the promised land that he's given them. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, nor his field, nor his servant, nor his maid, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor any of his cattle, nor whatever belongs to thy neighbor. And all the people perceived the thundering, and the flashes, and the voice of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And all the people feared and stood afar off. Stop right there. They could hear what was being said. Do you understand that? Do you appreciate that? That they're watching this take place, hearing it go down, and they're like, bruh, we don't want nothing to do with that. Got terrified and backed up. Sucker booty. Anyway, let's just keep reading. And also, do you note that the rules are this basic decency? Apparently, basic decency wasn't something that people practiced. Otherwise, these wouldn't be laws and statutes that the Most High God would have to put forth. Do you understand that? To honor your mother and father. Apparently, that wasn't something that people regulated. That wasn't ordinance. Not to commit adultery. Okay? Not to bear false witness. Not to covet your neighbor's wife, which is, once again, this is falling in line with adultery, fornication. Right on? Nor his house. Right on? Nor anything of his field, his ox, his servant, his maid. Right on? Nothing that belongs to your neighbor. Want to know why? Get your own. Work for your own. Don't be a low life. The Most High God created a system where in which the people would have had an inheritance where nobody would have ever been poor or broke had they done what they were supposed to do. People like, they're hostile invaders. You said it yourself. I know this. I understand this. The problem is that they didn't follow on with the other part of things they were supposed to do. They just did the hostile invading. Going forward. Verse 19. No, verse 20. No, verse 18, excuse me. And the people perceived the thundering and the flashes, and the voice of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And all the people feared, and stood afar off, and said to Moses, Speak thou to us, and let not God speak to us, lest we die. And Moses said to them, Be of good courage, for God is come to you to try you, that his fear may be among you, that ye sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses went into the darkness where God was. What? And Moses went into the darkness. Understand, they were terrified. They're like, I'm not going in there. Not going in there. We can hear him from right here. You just relay to us what we already heard him say, and come back and just double down on what we already heard. And Moses is like, he's only trying you to make sure that he could put his fear into you, so that way you know he's real. Had they done that, understand, these are little things, small little things. They're being tried, what? Like the silver. Come on. Let's just go ahead and go. Verse 22. And the Lord said to Moses, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and shalt report it to the children of Israel. Ye have seen that I have spoken to you from heaven. Ye shall not make to yourselves gods of silver and gods of gold. Ye shall not make to yourselves. Ye shall make to me an altar of earth. Here we go, dirt, right? And upon it ye shall sacrifice your whole burnt offerings. This is talking about cooking now. And your peace offerings, and your sheep, and your calves in every place, where I shall record my name. And I shall come to thee, and bless thee. And if thou wilt make to me an altar of hewn stones, thou shalt not build them of hewn stones. An altar of stones, thou shalt not build them hewn stones. For thou hast lifted up thy tool upon it, and they are defiled. Stop right there. So understand, the fact that you have to do something to the hewn stone, right on, to perfect it, I don't want you to touch it. To make an altar out of earth, all you have to do is have a fire and literally build around that. You see what I'm saying? And you can build the fire, and the fire is going to purify it and make it righteous. Going to make it not defiled. Otherwise, your stone altar has to be with stones that are perfect and to stay up. Right. You don't want your food to just, you don't want the blood to just pool everywhere. You want it to drip and drizzle. And whenever you have the fire, it has to, the rock that you would have it on, the stones you would have it on would have to be able to hold the heat, so that way the food could cook properly, your sacrifice could cook properly. Because, improper sacrifice meant that you probably got sick, right? Because you didn't sacrifice properly to the God. It was an unfit sacrifice. I'm going to go forward and just keep it in your mind. Ye shall make to me an altar of earth, and upon it ye shall sacrifice your whole burnt offerings, and your peace offerings, and your sheep, and your calves in every place, where I shall record my name. And I will come to thee, and bless thee. And if thou wilt make to me an altar of stones, thou shalt not build them hewn stones, for thou hast lifted up thy tool upon them, and they are defiled. Thou shalt not go up to my altar by steps, that thou mayest uncover thy nakedness upon it. Stop right there. He said, you will never go up to my altar to take off your clothes, ever, or to have sex. Understand. Anyway, I love y'all. I really do. I appreciate your time. I got to turn this all off before my laptop calls itself one to act out. Appreciate you. Spiritual Gumbo.